I first became an activist in the early 90s. It was about the middle of the heat of the AIDS crisis, and I was really affected by that, even though at the time I didn't know anybody that had AIDS. But then as time went on and more people in my community became sick, even though it wasn't someone within my immediate circle, I just felt like I had to get up and do something. So GMHC was giving a training on how to be a buddy. And I thought, well, that's something I could really do. So I went to the training and I became an AIDS buddy. And I did that work for 8 years. And I went in and out of people's homes that had AIDS. They were sort of buddied up with us, and we did all kinds of things for them, from hospital advocacy to grocery shopping, basically whatever the individual needed. And I did that for a number of years. It was tough work and it was very emotional, but it filled me up and it made me feel like I was doing something. Of course, the downside of that was now I knew a lot of people who had AIDS, but it was very rewarding work. As an AIDS buddy, I received a lot of criticism, particularly from family members, and I think it was out of fear. They didn't really understand the epidemic. They didn't understand that helping someone that had AIDS did not put you at risk to getting AIDS. And they thought I was crazy because I didn't know someone and I jumped into that world, and they felt like I was putting myself at risk. I didn't feel that way, but they did. And then as I moved on in my activist career and I did other things, I think they began to see that I was just the type of person who had to get up and do something. I worked on marriage equality for over 17 years. I started out as a volunteer and I became the board president of Marriage Equality USA. And we went a really long time in that work without any successes, but once we started getting them, man, did they come fast and furious. And I have to tell you that to this day, I find that that is my greatest accomplishment, getting marriage passed. Birthing the activist that became Edie Windsor out of our organization is one of my proudest moments. I think the biggest disappointment that I had in my activist life came in the 2008 election. We got Barack Obama elected to be president, and that was fantastic. But in the same night, we lost 4 initiatives in 4 different states. I mean, I finally knew what a yo-yo felt like, to be honest with you. I mean, I have to say that that was my lowest point in working on marriage equality, was losing 4 initiatives. Not a one went our way. Let me just take that 2008 instance as the example. The first thing I did was cry, of course. And then I took about 2 weeks off with my wife, and we just did things that make us happy as a couple. And then I took a deep breath and went back to work. So working on the issue and not taking no for an answer and continuing to fight for the right that I knew I was entitled to brought me back to it, but I did have to take some downtime. I would like to think that most of the doors in the New York State Senate are now open to me because they know how annoying I am when they're closed. So I'd like to think that's the case. I met with some of them recently on my new initiative, which is gun violence protection, obviously with Gays Against Guns. And they remembered me, so that was nice that they did. And they were very accommodating. And I think because they remember how painful it is to not be accommodating to me. I found a wonderful community each time I worked on an issue. So when I was an AIDS buddy, I had a group that worked with me. By borough, we were divided. And I still talk to many of those people today. They've become lifelong friends. In marriage equality, I have 4 of the best friends a person's ever had in their life that came out of the relationship began working on marriage equality. And now the gaggers, the Gays Against Guns folks, they are fantastic. They care so much about one another, and I feel really accepted and I feel loved from all of them. And I feel that after we've made strides in this issue, that many of us will remain very close. I would say that activism is a great way to do a lot of things in life. It's great, obviously, to work on an issue that you believe in. It's great socially. It keeps you engaged. I often recommend becoming involved in some kind of volunteer work to friends that maybe have made a life change, lost a loved one, had a breakup or something like that. You can really spark your life up getting involved in things, and if you really believe in the cause, all the better.